Good morning and welcome to this morning's announcement. I would like to remind you that we are on the unceded territory of the Tsleil-Waututh, Musqueam, and Squamish nations. I would like to thank Fire Chief Brian Hutchinson, Local 1183 Union President Ryan Stewart, the IFF's Scott Marks, and Mike Carter for their support in today's announcement. Without further ado, I would now like to introduce no stranger to firefighters, the Minister of Environment and Climate Change, and Member of Parliament for North Vancouver, the Right Honourable Jonathan Wilkinson, to provide comment on today's announcement.
Good morning. Bonjour. I would also like to begin by acknowledging that we are joining you from the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Musqueam, the Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. On behalf of Health Minister Patty Haidju and myself, it is certainly a pleasure to be here today at the District of North Vancouver Fire Training Centre to outline important steps the government is taking to protect firefighters. We all members of our communities owe these brave men and women a debt of gratitude and the collective good provided by firefighters and the firefighting profession in our communities and in fighting the wildfires that are plaguing our province this year. It goes, I think, without saying that firefighting is a dangerous and specialized profession. It is why firefighters are highly trained. It is why we as a society staff and maintain professional fire departments so that they will be there without fail when we all need them. But it is a two-way street. We also need to be there for firefighters when they need us. La lutte contre les incendies est un travail essentiel, mais souvent dangereux. Nous comprenons maintenant que ce travail dangereux est rendu encore plus périlleux par certains des produits chimiques nocifs que l'on trouve dans les produits de nos maisons, des produits chimiques qui peuvent créer des risques toxiques supplémentaires lorsqu'ils brûlent. Researchers have identified higher levels of chemicals in the bloodstreams of firefighters. And firefighters have disproportionately higher incidence of some cancers, including melanoma, brain cancer, and esophageal cancer. So the heroism involved in rushing towards burning buildings isn't just about the immediate and the obvious physical hazards. In particular, there is concern about firefighters' exposure to hazardous substances from the burning of harmful chemical flame retardants. These flame retardants are found in children's toys, upholstered furniture, mattresses, and electrical devices. I have certainly heard the concerns of firefighters about this issue from our local detachments and from national representatives. In fact, some of the firefighters with us here today discussed this with me very soon after I was elected almost 6 years ago. At that time, I said that personally I was and am of the view that when we ask firefighters to go into burning buildings and risk their lives in doing so, we should collectively be working to ensure that they are not also exposing themselves to long-term harm from toxic chemicals. This issue has been a priority for me since I was elected. Le gouvernement du Canada a écouté ces préoccupations importantes et aujourd'hui, je suis vraiment heureux d'être ici avec vous pour vous présenter un certain nombre de mesures que nous prenons dans le cadre d'un plan détaillé pour régler ce problème. The plan includes assessing and restricting or banning several harmful flame retardants that have been found to pose risks to human health or to the environment. We are also working on the development and use of safe flame retardants, including less harmful alternatives to chemical flame retardants in household products. To date, the Government of Canada has assessed over 150 flame retardants, and through this process, evidence has shown that 12 of these substances pose a risk to human health or to the environment. Additionally, they do not break down easily in the environment and can move up the food chain in increasing quantities from smaller species, like fish, all the way to human beings. It is clear that stronger action is needed to protect Canadians and the environment from these substances, and that is why we are prohibiting the manufacture, import, use, and sale of these flame retardants. This is the right thing for the health and safety of Canadians, our environment, and our communities. We are also proposing to act on 6 additional flame retardants and are presently considering how best to restrict or to prohibit these substances. And beyond flame retardants that have already been assessed as causing or likely to cause harm to human health, we are also presently assessing a further 14 flame retardants to determine whether they are likely to pose health or environmental harms. In addition to the work that's underway to assess and ban certain flame retardants, we are conducting additional research and monitoring to assess firefighters' levels of exposure to harmful chemicals. This includes critical work on skin contact, which is likely an important source of exposure to cancer-causing substances in smoke. This work will further inform strategies to better protect firefighters and help reduce their exposure to these chemicals, including new research into personal protective equipment to reduce skin contact and smoke penetration. Thirdly, as part of our efforts to strengthen the Canadian Environmental Protection Act, or CEPA as it is commonly known, our government will take action to improve information for supply chain managers and to require mandatory labeling for certain consumer products. In particular, where products contain substances of potential concern for the environment or the health or safety of Canadians, such labeling will help inform Canadians about products that contain or may release toxic substances, including chemical flame retardants. When I introduced the CEPA reform bill into Parliament a few months ago, I noted that the initial products we would focus on for mandatory labeling were flame retardants in upholstered furniture, cosmetics, and household cleaning products. We all owe our firefighters nothing less than our full attention to avoid these harms. And today, there are approximately 25,000 firefighters working across Canada and approximately 125,000 volunteers. Leur santé et leur sécurité doivent être notre priorité, tout comme notre sécurité est la leur. Mais aussi important que soit la protection de nos pompiers, un problème encore plus vaste est un jeu ici. Les retardeurs de flammes, lorsqu'ils brûlent à haute température, peuvent produire des dioxines qui se répandent dans la fumée et s'accumulent dans la chaîne alimentaire. Marine toxicologist Peter Ross, who is someone who lives right here in Vancouver, after studying the southern resident killer whale population, once described them as fireproof killer whales because of the amount of toxins he found. It is these kinds of cumulative environmental effects that we are working to better understand in our assessment and management of chemicals through the first substantive update to Canada's cornerstone environmental protection legislation, CEPA, in over 20 years. Our modernization bill will strengthen and modernize CEPA. It will, for the first time in federal law, recognize every Canadian's right to a healthy environment, while also strengthening the regime for chemicals management. It would further require the government to consider populations that are at greater risk of exposure or susceptibility to harmful chemicals, such as firefighters. The Government of Canada understands and very much appreciates the dangerous work that firefighters do each and every day. By taking action to protect firefighters, we are also taking action to help protect all Canadians and the environment from the potential risks associated with substances used as chemical flame retardants. Our continued action and vigilance must match the determination that our firefighters show in their work each and every day on the job. Today, I think, is an important step forward for the firefighting community, for Canadians, and for the environment. Thank you very much for joining us for this announcement.
Thank you, Minister Wilkinson, for those comments on today's vitally important announcement on flame retardants and the importance to the safety of the public and firefighters. I would now like to invite a great friend of the firefighters, Member of Parliament for Burnaby North, Seymour, Terry Beach, to offer a few comments.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Bonjour à tous. C'est un grand plaisir d'être avec vous, d'être ici avec vous aujourd'hui. I too want to acknowledge that this event today is taking place on the unceded territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh people. I also want to acknowledge the District of North Vancouver firefighters for all the great work that they're doing. We also have representatives from the Burnaby firefighters. We have, I believe, a little over 650,000 acres of wildfires. It's more than 4 times the annual average. And a lot of their colleagues that aren't here today are actually in the interior fighting those wildfires. And when they go, their families go with them because they're thinking about them the entire time. And so thank you to all the firefighters and to all the families that are currently fighting those fires. And it makes me happy to be here alongside my friend, Minister Jonathan Wilkinson, to talk about this tremendous announcement. Like the Minister, I first met with firefighters on this issue within a year or two of first being elected. And it's great that Minister Wilkinson has been able to get this across the line. One of the firefighters included the current mayor of Burnaby, who wasn't the mayor of Burnaby at the time. He was a firefighter, and this was a big issue for him. And I sent him a note this morning letting him know that we were making this announcement, and of course he was very happy to hear it. As Minister Wilkinson noted, each day, approximately 150,000 full-time and volunteer firefighters in this country put themselves in harm's way to protect our communities. It's only fair that we protect them too. As indicated in the latest United Nations International Panel on Climate Change report, fires are expected to become more frequent and more intense in the near term, a fact we are seeing borne out across our country as we speak. So this announcement couldn't come soon enough. And with regards to that particular aspect, I'm also proud to be making this announcement with a minister who has developed a strengthened plan, making Canada a leader in fighting climate change. And for anybody who's watching or sees this that hasn't read the new Canada Climate Plan, A Healthy Environment and a Healthy Economy, I would suggest giving it a read. And we're going to make sure we deliver that for the protection of our next generations, and we're going to do more as well. Identifying and limiting the exposure of our firefighters to harmful chemicals released during house fires is a comprehensive step towards keeping them safe while they do their life-saving work. It's also helping keep our families safe. Our plan has a multi-pronged approach to addressing this issue, including banning harmful chemicals used in some flame retardants, promoting safe flame retardants, and developing adequate personal protective equipment to limit exposure to harmful substances. In carrying out these changes, we are also limiting the potential impacts of these chemicals on Canada's health and our environment and our food chain and our biodiversity, as Minister Wilkinson already spoke about. Firefighting is already a dangerous, specialized field to work in. It is thanks to all of you that we are here today implementing this plan. We owe it to you to minimize those risks to every extent that we can, to keep you safe, and to improve the conditions that you work in so that you can continue to protect us and protect our communities. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and thank you, Minister Wilkinson, for getting this across the line.
Thank you, MP Mr. Beach. As a firefighter, I know all too well the dangers flame retardants have in my workplace, the hot and smoky environments that I enter in protecting life and property. Fires today burn hotter and faster than ever before, and these flame retardants provide virtually no benefit to firefighters in the spread of fire. These chemicals are constantly off-gassing toxic dusts in our homes, affecting everyone's health. To be blunt, I can stand in the shower 3 or 4 days after a house fire and still have black ooze coming from my pores, blow my nose and have soot come out. All of this despite wearing all of my protective gear. The chemicals that make up these flame retardants stay in my body for days, and that's not healthy in any way. So this announcement is timely. The risks that flame retardants pose to firefighters and families in the homes far outweigh any benefit. So again, we're very appreciative of this announcement. On behalf of firefighters here today and across the entire country, I would like to express our sincere thank you to the Government of Canada, Minister Wilkinson, MP Beach, and others for these important steps, and look forward to our continued work on this critical piece of safety. I would now like to thank all of our speakers this morning, our hosts, the District of North Vancouver firefighters, and of course you, our Facebook Live audience, for watching. And this concludes our event. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now proceed with taking questions from media on Zoom. Nous allons maintenant poursuivre à prendre des questions des médias sur Zoom. For those of you joining via the platform, please use the hand raising function if you have a question. We ask that you keep yourself to one question and one follow-up. For those joining us by phone, you can use your dial pad, *9 to raise your hand and *6 to mute or unmute. Pour ceux qui sont sur Zoom, veuillez utiliser la fonction main levée si vous avez une question. Nous vous demandons de vous en tenir à une question et à une question de suivi. Les contrôles suivants peuvent être utilisés via les touches du clavier de votre téléphone. Étoile 9 pour lever la main et étoile 6 pour couper ou rétablir le son. And a reminder to please raise your hand if you have a question, or *9 for those of you on the phone. And we'll give it one more minute. Again, please raise your hand if you have a question, or *9 to raise your hand via your telephone. Well, Minister, it seems we have no further questions, so this concludes today's announcement. Monsieur le Ministre, comme il n'y a plus de questions sur Zoom, ceci conclut le point de presse aujourd'hui. Merci à tout le monde. Thank you very much.